Hi, I'm Nicole, and I've got quite a story to tell. Currently, I'm only comfortable telling you about last 8 months of it. So, pretty much just my 2025 so far. There is quite a story prior to that as well, but I'm not exactly comfortable with sharing that yet. But the Most High has put it on me that it is necessary for not only my healing, but others' healing and awakening as well. So we'll begin in January of 2025. About halfway through January, I was miserable, but like beginning to see things with new or different eyes. A lot of things that I was raised to believe were taboo were brought into my field and were resonating heavily with me. And I've always believed everything happens for a reason and that there are no coincidences. So my life got pretty much flipped upside down when this new reality presented itself to me. And it was not the beginning of my awakening, but a very big part of my awakening. I would say my full awakening has literally been 9 years. So I am now completing the end of a 9-year cycle. So I was working at a retail store. I was involved with someone within that store, and it was not healthy. It was not fulfilling, and it was not reciprocal. I was giving all of my heart and receiving breadcrumbs, gaslighting, and a whole hell of a lot of pain. And within all of that, it was like the pain triggered something within me that woke me up to this whole new reality. So for that, I'm truly grateful for my experience. So I started noticing how people were acting like around me was just off. Like it seemed almost scripted, and it left me every day just questioning my reality. Like, why are these people acting like this? Why are they responding this way? It just didn't seem like natural or how I would anticipate a response in any particular situation. I will preface with the fact that these are my truths, and my truths hold a lot of triggers. So if you're sensitive or you don't resonate with my truths, there's like millions of other channels or videos you can go waste your time on, okay? My life is wild, to say the least. There's a lot of days, not so much anymore because I realize most people are just on demon time, but I more than likely won't read your comments, not out of disrespect, but I've learned that our energy is very precious, and we waste a lot of it, and we feed the entities and the powers and the principalities unknowingly with all of those negative comments and negative feedback and or feeding into those negative comments or feedback. So anyway, back to my story. Sorry, this is the first time I've really done this. I don't know what the etiquette is or really even give a shit, but God told me to get my story out, so here we are. It's taken him quite a while to push me to get this. Okay, anyway, back to the story. So, plus I'm old and technologically deficient, so just bear with me. Besides I guess the relationship was sort of part of it too, but anyway, within the town that I was in, within the place where I was working, I really shouldn't say town, I should say county, because it was actually the outskirts. Anyway, I speak my truths, and I stick to my guns, and I hold my integrity close to my chest. If we don't have truth in our life, everything's a facade, and it boils my blood to think about how many people are deceiving others and keeping them confused and lost in this already chaotic world. And then we wonder why we have people who have mental health issues. Okay, anyway. Most of them are orchestrated, You have all these people around you that are doing nefarious shit to you and expecting you not to start feeling some kind of way. Frankly, I could give a fuck less what anybody thinks, feels, or says anymore. If they're gonna come at me sideways, I have learned that in most cases, walking away is probably safe for all parties. I've really learned how to temper my emotions and control my reactions so that they are now more of a response. So while I was working at this retail store, I had quite a few positions within the store, and I had transferred from another state. So I'm from Wisconsin. I started working there like April, I believe, of 2023. And I transferred to a Michigan store in November of 23, and I worked there until January of this year. When I transferred in, I was working like the drive-thru or whatever. Well, I'm a great underachiever, so well, no longer. I was a great underachiever. I'm working on that. But at the time, I was just doing part-time, and I was trying to start my life over. I had gone through a divorce. I sat on my mom's couch and got fat for like a year and a half, and so I just, decided I should get back out in the workforce. But I, sorry, one second. Fucking roaches. Okay, it's better than the backseat of my car at this point. Anyway, back to the story. So, I guess the people in the store quickly realized that I was capable of far more than just delivering people the shit they ordered from online. And a position came open for like the training department to train all of the new hires, right? And so I took that on, and then they had some people leave and some other department head positions, and so then they offered me a department head position. And at the time I asked them, I said, well, can I still do the training too, because that was only a part-time position, and I'm quite efficient, so I figured, what the hell, I'll just go full-time and do them all, right? And so I was running 2 departments, and also doing the training coordinator position. Within working there for, it was about a year and a half, I suppose, like I said, the people just seemed off. And I have a tendency to just kind of be like off in my own little fucking world most of the time, and that's generally how people see me. But when I start noticing different patterns with people and things, especially ones that I feel like are wrong, that don't align with my truths or how I want to perceive this world. I want this world to be beautiful. I want this world to be a happy place. It hurts my heart so bad to see all of, the pain and misery in this world. It just deeply saddens me. And so I feel it's important to nip it in the bud when I see it, and because I've let it go for too long. I just thought it wasn't my place, right, to say anything, but throughout this long fucking journey, I always say I've had many lives, because my God, I have. I don't even think I know the full truth of that. But I started noticing like weird stuff in management, and I'm very vocal about it. I'm very vocal about everything. Not necessarily online, but if I see it, I say it. And people around me get, they either love me or they hate me for it, and that's, their choice, and it is what it is. But so I seen things and recognized things, patterns and behaviors, and they get all whispery and weird shit, and right? Well, I started calling it out. And then I started bringing it to a lot of other people's attention, and then they started noticing it, and then when management finally did something about it, it didn't settle well with me, because it didn't seem like the punishment met the crime, especially when they were coming at me for missing work, for being sick. And like I said, I don't really believe in coincidences, but there's times when I say things and I guess I just don't realize how much truth is in them when I actually say them. And then later I'm like, holy shit, wow. So they made me sign my, my write-up form for missing a day. Now, mind you, I had sick time that they didn't enter for me. So they, basically orchestrated a fuck up to write me up for, whatever it was, what it was. And, but anyway, at the time of the write-up, I said to them, it's really funny that I'm being punished for something this place caused. And like I said, at the time, I didn't know how much truth that held. But anyway, about the third week of January, or maybe it was the second week of January of this year, I just started feeling really like fucking blah about the place. And I had gone through some other stuff. I had moved to Michigan with my brother, and he ditched me for a prostitute, so he'd rather go help her pay rent than me, so that was, super cool. That's a whole other story. But anyway, and I've always been alone. Even when I was married for 24 years, I had kids, it was like, I've never been able to have a conversation with anybody and them truly understand where the hell I'm coming from. Maybe my dad, was probably the closest, but that was a very tumultuous relationship as well. So I'm pretty seasoned at just being alone, right? So I started hearing God very closely, and one day I went to work. I think it was a Friday, and I just wasn't feeling it right. And like, that's not normally me. Like, I'm not the kind of person that calls in sick. I always, and I give like my 110,000 fucking % to these people that are siphoning my fucking energy and getting, you know what, pennies on the dollar on my little bitty paycheck, you know. So I went up to my manager and I said, can I go home? Like, I'm just like really not feeling the greatest today. And it was just like a drained feeling, like not so much sick, just like blah, and like just, anyway. And she looks at me and she goes, well, it's your paycheck. And I'm like, that's an odd response. Like, first of all, you have no idea what my situation is, so why would it be any of your concern on whether or not my paycheck was short or not, right? But anyway, so I was like, okay, well, bye. So I went back to my my shit hotel that I was living in, and the next day I had to work as well. So I go into work, and when I tell you that it was like one of the weirdest days of my life, and then almost every fucking day since then has been even weirder, I can't even. Anyway, so I go into work, and it's like my whole spine is tingling, like just like not on fire, but like just like electric, like it was just tingling. And I was just like, I can't even put it to words on how what I was experiencing, okay? And but again, I was just like, I had nothing for the place, like nothing. Like I literally laid on the warehouse floor, and people are like, what the fuck are you doing? And I'm like, I just can't. Like, I was like a puddle. Like, I fell out of my chair in the office onto the floor like a puddle. Like, I just, like, I just had nothing for it. And so then it was like lunchtime, and I started to go out for lunch, and you know, they got the big old ceilings and the big old whatever, the tube lights, whatever the hell they're called, I don't even know, the fluorescent big things, right? Well, I'm going to go to lunch, and like one end of one of them had somehow come unfastened from the ceiling. It was just like hanging. And as I go out for lunch, I was like, well, if that isn't a fucking sign, I don't know what is, right? And I go back to my hotel room for my little piece of lunch, and I come back, and all I can hear is God telling me, get the fuck out of the boat. Get the fuck out of the boat, Nicole. And I'm like, but how am I gonna pay, you know, my rent, and how am I gonna pay like this, and how am I gonna eat? And you know, I'm freaking out, and God's like, get the fuck out of your boat. Like, you don't belong here. And so at this point, I'm like, my whole body is tingling. And I go into the bathroom, and I'm in the stall, and I'm just like, you know, having a conversation with God or Jesus in the stall. And so I don't know if anybody came in there, they're probably like, what is wrong with this bitch, okay? And I'm just like, what the shit? And so finally, I regained as much composure as I could, and I went in my office, and I started packing up all my shit, my personal belongings and whatever. And I went and found my store manager, and asked if I could speak to her. And so she came back into my office, and I handed her my keys, and I said, today's gonna be, like, right now it's gonna be like I'm leaving. And she asked me why, and I just looked at her and I said, integrity. And she goes, well, why? Did something happen today? And I just looked at her and I go, like, no, not today. Like, she knew. Come on. she knew. Like, and I really have zero respect for people that play stupid because I just don't have time for that shit, you know? I can't stand it when people play with your emotions or sit here and, you know, think that they're outsmarting you or outwitting you. Bitch, please, okay? Get your demon time somewhere else or with someone else. I just don't give a shit, okay? And, I left. And one of my little coworkers on the way out, he was like, "Where are you going?" And I was like, "I'm leaving." He's like, "Wait, what?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm leaving." And he had asked me about the guy that I was seeing, and I was like, "Yeah, that's pretty much over too." And he goes, "Oh, I thought so, since like you guys didn't go to lunch together or whatever." Anyway, and so I went back to my hotel room, and I messaged the guy that I had been seeing, and asked him, because I had a tendency to lock my keys in the car, and so after my brother ditched out on me, I asked him to hold my keys, and so he put them in his toolbox, right? And so I messaged him, and I was like, "Hey, when you get off work, can you meet me, you know, at the gas station and just give me my keys or whatever?" And he was like, I don't know, I don't remember exactly what the response was. At any rate, he met me, and God warned me prior to meeting him that day that he was going to attempt to poison me. At first, when it came to me, I was like, it was weird, right? Like, just out the blue, he's just gonna, like, what the hell, okay? And, but, lo and behold, this motherfucker hands me a piece of chocolate. And it was, like, some fancy shit chocolate that had, like, you know how they make them, like, with, like, coffee shit inside of them or whatever, or, like, not like cordials, but like they have like cognacs and whatever. Anyway, well, this was like a coffee one, and he was like so insistent that I eat it. Like, he just kept, like, no matter where the conversation was going, he was like, "Oh, are you gonna, you know, you should try that, and whatever." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay." And but no weapons formed against me shall prosper. So I unwrap it, and I could literally tell it had been tampered with. Like, it was like it had been put in a microwave or something. It was like weird. Like, the wrapper was all like sticky, weird, bubbly, and like whatever. Like, it wasn't foaming, but it was like, I could tell. Okay, like, I just knew. So I popped that bitch in my mouth and ate it. And I looked right at him. And then I left. Now, that wasn't the first time by him. It wasn't the first time in my life. And that was part of the reason why I had missed that time when I had got written up, because I was having abdominal issues and I just didn't know why. I thought I was drinking too much coffee, smoking too many cigarettes, and like my ulcers were flaring up or some shit, right? So I just kind of, you know, laid off the Cafe Bustelo and stuff. So anyway, shit just got weirder after that. So I go back to my hotel room, and I only had enough money to pay up for a week at the time. Paid for my week, and I sat in that hotel room just convening with God and listening to frequencies, and at that point contemplating where my life had gone so fucking wrong that I had literally lost everybody in it. I had literally been betrayed by everybody I'd ever known. I mean, there could be a couple sprinkled in there that weren't out to, like, you know, totally screw me over, but we'll get to that. But anyway, I like to drive, and although I haven't had a license in 9 years this time, I don't need a license. I don't drive my car for business, so, you know, they can all kiss my ass. That was another thing too. I got pulled over because dude was setting me up, and that cop was dancing, all kinds of shit. He asked me for my license, registration, and insurance, and I looked down in my car, looked back up at him. I said, nope. He said, you ain't got none of that? I said, nope. Now, the car was registered, but I'm not a black male, so that probably threw him off, okay? And anyway, that's just, sorry for the tangent. But anyway, so I like to drive, and but not in the city. Okay, so I'm driving out in the country, and you know, I have to admit, one thing I did like about Michigan was that it had plenty of country, plenty of nothing, and plenty of roads, just reaching out wherever. So I go for my little cruise, and I'm coming back into town, and it's 17 degrees out. And there's this young woman walking down the street in muck boots, leggings, and a hoodie, with looking just disheveled and terrified. And I'm like, what is going on with this girl, right? And so I'm not gonna lie, I don't think I even turned that car around. I think my angels turned that damn car around. And I pulled up to her, and I pick her up, and I'm trying to pull over into this lot, and she's like, no, I can't be here. And I'm like, okay, well, like, do you have someplace safe I can take you? And she was shaking, obviously, probably freezing to death, and I'm trying to crank the heat, and I take her to a couple places, and whoever she was looking for wasn't available, whatever. And so I asked her, I said, well, do you want to come back to my hotel room with me? And she goes, well, just don't take me to the hospital or the police station. I said, baby, I don't want nothing to do with neither of them either. I ain't taking you there. And I said, I'm just, you know, you can get some rest or take a shower, whatever you need to do, get cleaned up, get warm, you know, like, I mean you no harm, and I'm not trying to get you, like, impounded, okay? And I don't know if she was on other things, but I did notice she was kind of like, you know, ticking and talking to herself and things like that. Now, my youngest son has Tourette's, so it wasn't like, you know, weird to me or anything, but like, I'm trying to talk to her, and she's, you know, obviously something tragic had happened to her, so she was like not in the mood to really trust people, right? So she wasn't open, she wasn't receptive, she was, you know, very closed off. And but I did ask her, I said, you know, what happened? And she said that what she did tell me was that she was with a couple of guys, and they hurt her. They did things that she couldn't even tell me. Every time she tried to tell me, she would just like gag. Like, whatever it was repulsive, right? She was like, I can't even say it. I can't repeat it. I can't. And at that point, knowing the things that I know, I asked her, I said, do you think it was something ritualistic? And she kind of looked at me like, how the fuck did you know? You know, and she goes, yeah, I think so. And anyway, we get back into town, and she asked me to stop at the liquor store, and I said I'd really rather not. You know, at this point I had been in recovery for 8.5 years, and I didn't want that stuff in my room. You know, I mean, it doesn't bother me like that really. I can be around it. I just didn't want her drunk around me, I guess. And honestly, that shit never helps anyway. So whatever you're trying to hide with it, it's like putting a Band-Aid on a bullet hole, right? Like, just, anyway. Now, I did stop at the liquor store for her. She went in, she got whatever she got, I don't know. She took a couple swigs of it within the couple blocks before we got to my hotel. And now here's where shit gets real fucking weird. If other people had not seen this girl with me, I probably would have checked myself into a fucking mental hospital. Like, shit got supernatural. So we get back to the hotel, and as soon as I park, she gets out and she just starts fucking Ralphing all over the parking lot. And there's these two dudes out in the parking lot loitering, whatever they were doing. And they look at me and they go, "Is she gonna be okay?" I said, she will, we all will. You know, eventually we're all gonna be okay. And so I finally, you know, got her to gather her stuff and got her in the room and everything. And she kept grabbing like the lower part of her back and kind of like haunching over, and I just wanted to hug her. I wanted to hug her so bad. My heart was bleeding for her. Whatever she had experienced, I just wanted to take all of her pain away. I just wanted her to know that she was gonna be okay, you know? That it wasn't always gonna be like that. And she kept telling me I had to leave her alone. And I was like on the other side of the room, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know what to do, you know? One thing I noticed when we were in the car, she had asked me for a cigarette, and when she went to pass me back my lighter, she had a piece of her hair on her hoodie. And so before I went to reach for the lighter, she noticed that, and she grabbed it really quick, and like I was like, okay, that was weird, right? Like, what was that all about? But I didn't see anything, right? Well, I figured out why she did that later. So, she kept telling me to leave her alone. Leave me alone. And I'm like, I'm not talking to you, I'm not touching you, I'm not even looking at you, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I can't, how am I supposed to leave you alone? Like, do you want me to leave the room? Like, should I go outside? And she's like, no. And she goes, here. And she grabs my arm. And I can't. I don't know what happened. I can't even explain what I experienced. All I know is that I dropped to my knees and started crying hysterically. It was almost like I was feeling all of her pain or something, everything. But I don't know if it was her pain or my pain. I don't really know exactly what happened in that moment. I can't explain it. So she finally went and got in the shower, and I was trying to gather her some of my clothes, warmer clothes. Because I didn't know what her plan was, if she was going to stay after, whatever. Like, I didn't know what she was going to do. And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just going to get you some clothes. And she's like, no, I can't wear your clothes. Because they have my energy, my essence on them. I know that now. And she couldn't even stand to be in my presence, so she was wearing my clothes. It wouldn't have been, anyway. So she's like, I just need you to come in here. So I go into the restroom while she's in the shower, and she's just talking to me. And I asked her, I said, how long have you known you can do that? And she goes, like, for a while. And she says to me, so this is happening worldwide now? And I said, yeah, I think so. I think so. And at this point, this was all so new to me. I had no idea about past life regression or how literal, or not really literal, our auras are. I had really just started looking into, like the aether, and I didn't realize the crystals, were healing. I thought they were just pretty rocks I found in a river, right? Like, I didn't know all of these things. I didn't know about Reiki. I didn't know about any of it. I didn't know about cleansing my energy. I didn't even realize at the time that the healing frequencies that I was listening to were cleansing my energy. Like, I didn't know all of these things. I was raised in a box, the churches, the systems, the control. There were a lot of things throughout my life that called to me. Specifically, palm reading always called to me, but I never would allow myself to have one done because I was trained to believe that it was taboo, right? You're tapping into things that are not righteous. And yeah, everything has a good and a bad to it, so it's really how you choose to use it. Are you doing it out of love, or are you using it to injure others' souls? So she gets out of the shower and she's asking me if this dude can come over, and I'm like, no. No. Going through way too much shit, and she kept thinking I was hiding stuff from her, like drugs, and I'm like, because I moved my Bible off of the bed my brother used to sleep on onto my bed, and she thought it was like drugs or something, and I'm like, it's my Bible, baby. I don't do that shit. Like, I don't even know where to get that shit. I mean, I could probably have gotten it in that shit hotel, probably, but it's not my jam, right? So I was like, no, he can't come over. And so she was like, okay, well, can I call him? And I was like, go ahead, And but it was like the longer she was in the room with me, she ended up like in the fetal position on the floor, and she just kept telling me I was killing her. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing to you, I mean, it was literally just me wanting to hurt or help her so much. It's like, I guess the intensity of my love, it was just too much for her in that moment. And she was so sensitive to energy that it was just overcoming her, and she just like, it was like I don't know. I don't know. And so she like basically, well, when she told me that I was killing her, I started overheating. Like, I got super hot. I just stripped all of my clothes off and just laid on the bed and just bawled because I didn't know what I was doing. I couldn't control it. And I didn't want to be a reason for her pain. She had already experienced so much, I didn't want to hurt her. And I could hear her talking to her guides. I know that now. I didn't understand then. I always called them my imaginary friends, and my sister laughed at me for it, but you know, it is what it is. Now, anyway. So she left. Now, mind you, I'd lived in this hotel room for like 1.5 years, and nobody really came knocking on my door ever. Hell, the cleaning ladies didn't even, unless my rent was due. They pretty much just left me alone. I'm pretty sure that they thought I was a fucking fed sitting in the parking lot for the first year I was there. But I all of a sudden get a knock on the door, and it's this dude whom I thought had been banished from the property, but here he was knocking on my door. And he asks me, is she gonna be okay? And I said, yeah, I think so. And I said, I don't know, I just met her. I picked her up alongside the road, and she needed help, you know. And he goes, oh, okay. Are you okay? And because he knew my brother. And I said, yeah, I'm good. And because it took me a while to get back to the door. Obviously, I had put, you know, make myself decent again. I had put my clothes back on, right? And so I'm like, hold on. And so by the time I got over there, he's like, are you okay? And I said, yeah. And I knew his name was G just from my brother, or like that's what people called him, was G. But as he walked away, I called him Joe, and I didn't know why. Like, it just like literally rolled off my tongue. I was like, yeah, okay, see you later, Joe. And I seen him out the corner of my eye stop and pause, like, how the fuck you know my name, right? Like, and he goes, oh, okay. And he just walked away. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what in the fuck is going on? Okay, like, it was one thing getting pulled over by the cop thinking my guardian angels were playing a trick on me. No, it was the asshole I had been dating was, you know, trying to set me up. But that was one thing. But all this shit, I'm like, what in the hell is happening, right? So at this point, the whole time I was there, I had paid for a week, always. And at a time for my room. And something just told me, just pay for one more night. So I did. And that whole week prior, I kept telling myself, you should pack something, you should pack something. Now mind you, I had, like, my whole life was in this room. Like, everything I owned was in this room. Well, and the storage facility that's, I don't know, probably, anyway. And but I didn't, because I just didn't have it in me. I had no energy. I was so drained, and I was experiencing all this crazy shit and learning all this new shit, and I just didn't have time or energy, right? And so I'm laying on my bed, and I'm just going through all this shit in my head, and all of a sudden God's like, Nicole, get the fuck out of there. Get out now. And I'm like, so I like jump up, and I'm like, what the fuck now, right? And right before that, so this is like the next day, sorry. This is the next day. So right before that, the damn G guy had come back knocking on the door again. And I'm like, dude, I'm fine. What do you want? And also, like, my neighbor lady, she had been like always looking, like, I had seen her a couple times, like, it was like we got to our doors at the same time, sort of, and like she'd look over at me like she wanted to say something, and then she'd like get all sheepish and just go in her room, and I'm like, okay, hey, hi, bye. And like, yeah, okay. And then there was like this other homeless guy who I was like kind of suspect that he was an undercover too, and like there was just a lot. Like all of a sudden there was more of the police presence around in the area. I mean, there was always lots of them, but like they were chilling, right? And like just more there, just more present. And I'm just, you know, so I'm just sitting there, God, like, get the fuck out. And I'm like right now, like right now, I haven't packed anything, right? And so I'm like, I gotta pack something, you know, like I at least need underwear and clothes and whatever. And now all I could hear was, "Don't be Lot's wife. Don't be Lot's wife." And I'm just like, okay, Father God, you're in fucking charge. Okay. So I grabbed my dirty laundry. Like, it was laundry time, right? So my bag was full. So I grabbed my dirty laundry bag and as many necessities as I could real quick. It was like probably 2-3 o'clock in the morning, and it wasn't necessarily like different for me to just randomly get up in the middle of the night if I couldn't sleep to go drive. So like at this point I'm like, okay, maybe they won't notice, but like, you know, I'll just pretend like I'm going to drive, right? Like for a cruise. But like, so I had to kind of shove my shit in the car real like incognito, right? And now luckily, and you know, when I say everything happens for a reason, everything happens for a reason. My car had been bogged down with survival supplies for years. I made them align my car with all that shit in it, okay? Like wheels, right? And so it wasn't like I was without, you know, necessities. So I grabbed my shit and just start driving. And I'm like, God, what you got me doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? You know? You know, it's not really anything north of Michigan, really, right? And not to mention, I figured, well, anyway, we'll get to it. So I went like I was going on a cruise, and then I just kind of started heading south. Just driving and wondering what the fuck had become of my life. What the fuck? As I'm driving, this sensation in my spine was just excruciating. It was like someone was trying to like rip the base of my spine, like you know, like my lower back. Like it was like somebody literally had their hand around my spinal cord and was trying to rip it out of my fucking back. I couldn't even sit back in my car seat. I just kept driving and just like, it was just so uncomfortable. And I just, for miles and miles and miles, like I swear to God, I was probably in, shit, I don't know. I was, for whatever reason, I kept thinking I need to go to Virginia. I don't know shit in Virginia. I don't know why I was trying to go to Virginia. And I almost got there too. Till my dumb ass was like, okay, hold on, pump the brakes, God. What's going on here? Like, what am I doing here? Right? So I decided I'm going to go back to Wisconsin, and I'm going to see my son. my oldest son. So I call him and I was like, hey, you wanna go get tacos? He's like, you in town? I was like, no, for dinner. I said, I'm not there yet, but I'll let you know when I get there, right? Now at this point, I was probably about the base of Illinois. So I had a good long while, right? Still before I could get there. It was probably like 8 o'clock in the morning, so I'd be there about dinner time, right? I'm driving up the fucking highway through Illinois, and I kid you fucking not, a fucking Black Hawk helicopter comes hauling ass from my right side of my car, and he don't land, but he just hovers right over the top of my fucking car in my lane. And I'm not talking about he's radaring me. This motherfucker could have landed on my fucking car. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening? What are you doing? I'm like the only one on the road. There was one other person in the other way. Sorry, words. I've been up all day. The traffic going the other fucking way. I'm like, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is happening? So I drive under it, and I look in my rearview mirror, and he just takes off. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? What the fuck kind of crazy shit is going on? Like, why is my life so nuts all of a sudden? So there's that. Then I get back to Wisconsin. Call my son to come meet me for tacos. He pulls up, it's cold as shit. I get in his car. And at this point, I had so much energy flowing through me. Like, I was tapped the fuck in. When I tell you I was tapped the fuck in, like I could feel it coming out of my fucking fingertips. He looks at me and he goes, what are you doing here? I said, I thought we were getting tacos. He goes, no, like really, what are you doing here? And I said, well, other than running for my life from the crazy dude I was seeing in Michigan, he was trying to kill me, and I'm pretty sure your uncle's in on it, and God knows who else, but there's that. And he looks at me and goes, are you sure it's not just a misunderstanding? See, this is what I'm talking about when I say these people are giving me responses that don't match what's happening. Because had that boy come to me and said, people are trying to kill me, I would not accuse him of being confused. Okay? I would be out for blood. If my mother, even though, anyway, if my mother lady had come to me and said that to me, again, point. I got this. A misunderstanding. I kissed that boy on his forehead. Now, mind you, before, a couple weeks before, he had come to visit me. And there was a very bizarre moment that I witnessed that I don't think he knew I had seen. So other than his involvement in all of this that he's hiding from me, I think there was something else going on too, related to like health. And so in that moment, with all of that energy flowing through me, even though he hurt me, I still have love for that boy. I just touched his cheeks like this because my intentions in that moment were to heal him. And you can take that however the fuck you want, because I don't care about your judgment on whatever you know, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it's not my problem. And he looked at me and he goes, "What did you just do to me?" And I just smiled, got in my car, started heading south again. He messaged me for days. "Where are you?" Well, at that point I knew. I had no one left to trust. Again, I'm no stranger to solitude, but that one hit me hard, right? The betrayal of my children to me. Co-workers, the family I grew up with, even my exes. I could deal with their betrayal. The betrayal that came from my boys, that hit me some kind of way. That was probably one of the hardest things that I've had to get over in all of this. Still slightly triggers me, as you can see. So I started heading south, and it was winter, and I had I like to drive. Did I mention that? I like to drive fast around corners. Now, mind you, without a license, I don't really go much over, like 5 over, right? But I'm gonna make my ass a bumper sticker that says no brakes, because I'll take those bitches at whatever the speed limit is. And sometimes I like to play a game called Challenge Accepted and try maybe 5, 10, 15, 20 miles over. You know how they like drop the speed limit around curves and whatever? They're like, oh, you can only take it 35, blah, blah, blah. So, at any rate, my tires were more racing slicks than, what do they call them? All weather. So I knew that I wouldn't be able to, travel in inclement weather very far. So, I think I was in Missouri. I don't know. I kind of wanted to see the Arch, but then I really hated their roads, so I never went to the Arch. But I spent like a week in a gas station parking lot. It was like one of the big travel ones, right? So like nobody really thought too much of me being there. Um, once I realized that I had a clear path further south, I figured, well, if I'm gonna be fucking homeless, I'll be warm. I've lived in Florida. I'd lived in Tallahassee for like 5 years. I'd lived in Miami for a decade, so I started heading to Florida. Oh, when I tell you I had some experiences in Florida, buddy. I traveled all up and down the shit. What they just didn't they just rename it? Okay, I'm sorry. Listen, I lived in my car for like up until a month and a half ago, and my phone was always at 20%, so I wasn't really watching too much. I don't know why I couldn't get it to just charge, but anyway, probably because I was watching too much damn YouTube while I was driving and just, you know, eating it. Okay, anyway, so this damn, I'm at an hour already. Shit. Well, I'm gonna have to break this up. I started to go to Tallahassee, but when I got there, it had been 20 years since I had lived there, and 10 or 11 years since the last time I had been even through there. It has blown up so much, I couldn't find my way around there. I didn't, like, none of it looked the same. Like, none of it. I was like, what? Like, I had a GPS everywhere, and I lived there for quite a while. I knew my inside out, backwards, in everywhere. And I'm like, this is so weird. I mean, so weird. Like, it was just so much bigger. It was crazy. It was almost like the population had tripled. It was nuts. Anyway, but just like the expansion of businesses, and I mean, it was crazy. Honestly, it was like I had for real experienced a timeline jump. Like, it was a whole new reality. It was weird. Oh, I forgot to tell you, before I hit Florida, I think I was in Kentucky. And actually, this may have been before I had even headed back to Wisconsin. I don't remember. But I had this, yeah. So, magic's real. And the people that I pissed off in Michigan, they were doing the most. It probably wasn't even just the people in Michigan. If I'm being honest, it was almost everybody I ever had in my life has been trying to throw shit at me for black magic, gossip, mirror magic, fucking graveyard dirt, freezer magic, all kinds of shit they've been doing to me, right? There was an ambulance at one point, and God told me to follow it. So I did. Them EMS people was looking at me so fucking weird. They were like, what are you doing? I mean, they didn't really even ask me, but like, as soon as I realized that like, they brought the stretcher in and nobody came out on it, 1 second. You fucker. Where'd you go? Okay, we're just gonna let that be wherever he went. Boo. There's some Palo Santo in here. So I follow this ambulance, right? And the EMS people was looking at me like, what the fuck are you doing here? Why'd you follow us in here, right? And I'm sitting there looking at him like, buddy, I'm wondering the same fucking thing, right? And all of a sudden God's like, okay, good, I just wanted to make sure that you know, no matter what you were in the middle of, you would fucking obey. And I'm like, God got me out here looking like a fucking crazy. For real, you know? And I'm like, okay, God. So in my head, I'm driving. This is miles down the road. And I see another ambulance. And I'm like, well, maybe I should follow this one too, right? So, I start following it, and it just pulls to the side of the road, and there's this kid that's like, okay, he's not a kid, he was like a young man, probably in his 20s-some. And when I tell you, you gotta be careful of your energy, when I tell you that these motherfuckers try the most, and when I tell you that gang stalking's real, and when I tell you that you should not rely on your own understanding, and when I tell you that Satan be trying the most, so the powers and principalities that be planted this little motherfucker off the left side of the road, pretending like he was fucking homeless, and you got some concerned citizens that called the fucking EMS, and here comes my dumb ass like, oh, I guess I should pay attention, I should pick this little homeless shit up too, and you know, the ambulance brought me here, and blah 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 blah. So anyway, ambulance ends up leaving, the people end up leaving, he's walking down the fucking street, and I'm like, hey, I think you're supposed to get in. I was wrong. But you know, you live and you learn. I've had some hard fucking lessons this lifetime, this season, this year. I stopped picking people up, okay, by the way. But anyway, prior to that, I had some little hoodoo voodoo fucking automobile magic shit going on, and the oil cap didn't get put back on correctly, and fucking got lost and exploded shit all over the fucking car, and I went to like 4 different auto parts stores, and nobody gave me the right fucking oil cap, and so yeah. So anyways, I get this little shit in the car with me. And he's real quiet. And he's got this like, you know, how you say it? Baklava? Not the little snacky shit from Poland, the face covering thing, right? On his face, and I'm like, you're in the car, you can take it off. But he wouldn't, right? Because, you know, he was sent in by the other team. I asked him, where can I take him? And he said, well, just to the next town. I said, well, I don't even know where the fuck that is. I don't even know where the fuck we are. And, so I start driving, and I'm, you know, asking questions. And I started noticing, like, he's got this brand new backpack on that is more or less empty. But then he gets in with this, like, clear trash bag of, like, shit. And so my car was, Darth and I don't do visitors often, so we're not accommodating for visitors, right? So this motherfucker's up in the car, like, you know, knees up and bag and all this shit, right? And we're driving, and I'm trying to talk to him, and, like, I'm getting, you know, beans and cheese back from this kid. He's telling me how he's down on his luck and all this and that. And, we get up on this bridge, and Darth starts to take a shit. And I'm like, fuck. And I tell the kid, I said, I'm sorry. I was like, I was trying to help you, but I guess, I mean, you're a little further. And, he's like, no, it's fine. I'll sit with you, you know. And he's like, do you want a hug? And in that moment, I'm like, this is early on in my travels. I mean, let's just say, the divine, the Most High, Father God, the true source creator of all the universes, he singled me out for a reason. And even though that hasn't fully been unveiled to me yet, too many other people fall up in my shit, know too much more about me than I do. But anywho, my skin's got a lot thicker, put it that way. He had to get me alone and put me through all this experience for a reason, and I get it, and I respect it, and I'm not gonna say I never questioned it, but I get over it, you know? Everything happens for a reason. So I'm like, yeah, I guess. So he gives me a hug. And you know, and then like I kind of pull back, and I start boohoo crying again, and he's like, you know, hugging me again, and I'm like, and all of a sudden he's like, okay, well, I hope everything works out for you. This motherfucker was almost like the little leprechaun skipping down the goddamn rainbow away from the car. So remember when I told you I was feeling that my energy was so high, I was feeling these tingles in my fingers? I didn't feel it anymore after you walked away. And don't know if in that moment I was more upset about that, my car seizing up, or acting up. She didn't really seize up, acting up, or the fact that I knew his punishment was going to be far worse. All I could think was, enjoy it while you can, buddy. Because the Most High coming for your ass. Eventually, an older gentleman and his wife pulled up, and he ran back to his house, and he's like, "You got the wrong cap on here." I'm like, "Yeah, I know, but..." Went to like 3 auto parts stores and nobody had the right one apparently, and that's what they gave me for my, So he brought me back like I think it was a radiator cap, and he put that on there with a paper towel, and it stopped spitting and sputtering. I guess I had put too much oil in the car because I, with it spraying everywhere, and those first couple months there was a learning curve, to say the least. But he got me back on the road. I didn't think he was. I was ready to just throw what I could in my laundry bag, and oh, I forgot to tell you about that. That's funny. So when I first, on my way out of Michigan, I stopped at a laundry, and that whole situation was very weird too, because I did my laundry, and I had some items that were like bulkier, so I had to throw, like, I took out the other stuff, was folding it, and I had to throw it back in the dryer, right? Well, my mind was like going 1,000 miles an hour in about 12,000 different directions, and I had put some clothes on like a table within the laundromat, like if anybody wanted them or whatever, and then I forgot those clothes in the dryer, and I had put a hoodie of mine on the, little baskety rack things that you borrow while you're there. Well, I put my hoodie on there, and like I said, my brain I just wasn't present in that moment. It was going 10,000 miles in every other direction besides right here. And so when I finally folded everything, threw it in the bag, I didn't even realize that I forgot the shit in the dryer, that my hoodie was gone. Like, I didn't even realize, right? And so I take off, and I'm driving for like miles. I don't even remember how many miles. And I get to a gas station, and I'm in line for a while, and at this point I had realized, oh, I don't have my hoodie, because I needed it, right? Because it was like my jacket, basically. It was like one of those like thicker, bulkier like Sherpa things. And this little woman comes from the register, like she had just paid. She turns around, looks me dead ass in my eyes, and I look at her, she's got my fucking hoodie on. Yep, that happened. Yep, it did. These motherfuckers been playing with me like that. Well, they were, until I started turning around and fucking chasing them. I had a witch pull up to me at a park one time. I was sitting there in Florida, like around Brandon or Bradenton area, and I had seen it before from random strangers that would pull up next to me. I would see him just sitting in the car mumbling shit, and then they'd look over at me and I'm like, I know you on demon time, honey, I know, okay? Well, this one, she pulls up next to me in the park and I'm looking at her and I'm like, because she kept looking at me. But then when our eyes met, she just, and then she backed out, started leaving, and I was like, oh, you want to play? So I let her get out the park, and then I took off after her, and I seen her, and I don't know how she missed the dead end sign, but I half expected her to. So I didn't follow her directly. I took the turn she probably intended on taking. Pulled into the apartment complex, drove through so I could get into a driveway where when she passed I could get my ass right in behind her. And that's what I did. This little bitch had me speeding down the fucking road. She's trying to do like 65 and a 45 to get the fuck away from me, and I'm right on her ass, okay? I'm just like sitting here, bitch, they ain't paying you enough. They will never fucking pay you enough. I said, you have no fucking idea who you're dealing with. I will fucking chase your ass down. I will fucking hunt your ass down. Who the fuck do you think you are? And she's throwing fucking sage and all kinds of shit out the fucking window at me, and I'm just like, in the moment, I'm just laughing. I was having a good time. I didn't give a shit. And I followed her for a while, and then I got, sick of playing with my food, so I let her go. But oh, the best one I was, I had been staying at a Walmart in Brandon or Bradenton, I don't know, somewhere in that general southish central area of Florida, right? Around Tampa, like south of Tampa. I had been staying in a Walmart parking lot for a while, and one night I'm sitting there and I thought I had just had the greatest fucking revelation, and I'm not gonna share it with you because it wasn't, but either way, I'm like super excited in the moment, and I went to go put up, my shades and shit for the night, and I finally realized, oh, there's like all these cops just, it was like they were waiting for me to like go to sleep and so they could come scream at me or something, or do whatever, and I was like, oh, fuck that shit. So I started driving south again, and I get to the next South Walmart, right, and I'm like, I'm just gonna drive past it. I'm not gonna stop at this one because they probably expected me to just come right here, right? Motherfucker. I'm in a 25 zone, and there is a fucking sheriff hauling ass at me at like 60 fucking miles an hour, and I'm just like, and he's like staring at me. I'm like, I just started laughing and kept on driving. And he's just like, I'm like, yeah, buddy, what? I don't remember where the fuck I went after that, but sometimes you do have to play with your phone. It's kind of funny. It kept me entertained, okay? Like, maybe it wasn't what I was supposed to be doing, but I had to make light of the situation somehow. Especially since I had to really learn not to take food from strangers. You'd think I would have learned after being poisoned for so long, but I'm sitting trying to, where was this? Yeah, so that must have been in Brandon, I think, or somewhere South Tampa, and then I went to Bradenton. Hello. There was a really, really quiet beach. It was like really private, but not private. Like it was public, but it was like just hidden. And I found it, and so I was trying to meditate or do yoga or whatever the fuck, and this guy comes over, and at this point I'd probably been homeless for like 2 months. So I was kind of skinny. I mean, I was already kind of skinny, but I was skinny. And I mean, because I was already kind of skinny from all the shit from the relationship and everything and all that stress. But yeah, the homeless didn't help, you know. I guess I'd been living out of a gas station for about 2 years by that point anyway, who cares? But anyway, but yeah, he's over here and he's like, basically insinuating I'm on all these drugs, and I'm like, buddy, I said, I don't do drugs. Okay, like, you can check in between all my fingers, toes, under my fingernails, wherever the fuck you want to check. I'm not, like, I don't do that. Like, well, anyways, then he brought me pizza, and it was really good pizza, but that shit hurt my belly so bad. Pretty sure he poisoned it. I don't know. Everybody was poisoning me. Even the ones pretending to do Reiki on me and tell me that they weren't. I still can't really eat cheese anymore. Definitely can't eat meat. If I've learned anything on all of this or throughout all of this, it's definitely to trust the Most High. I still have a hard time sometimes with all the signs, because this world's loud and distracting. But I've had that same park that I met that I chased the witch lady out of, that witch. A few days later, a whole group, well, I met the group a few days later, but it was like 3 people. It was a couple guys and a woman. I think the couple were from Kentucky, they said, and the dude was from Ohio. He was the faith walker. Hasn't posted a fucking video since I left him in the dust. But that the couple, the woman in the couple, she knew things about me, my grandpa, my kids, that that she shouldn't know. I didn't tell her. She didn't know me from Eve. Somebody's really not happy I'm telling you guys all of this. Probably multiple people. Probably even people in the building I'm in right now. Sorry, that was they're pissed. I can feel they're pissed. These people in this building weren't quite ready for me. They're trying so hard to fuck with me. I get their little energy waves, you know, but it's definitely not going the way they wanted. And I still do pick it all up though, you know. Not all, right? But like, I can feel when they try. I know I'm very protected. There's no fucking way I would have survived what I've survived without protection that I can't see. I can't fucking see it. It's definitely there though. They have new recruits every day because I keep taking them out. I had after the woman started talking about my family and shit and making all those comments, they kept trying to get me away from my car, get me alone. And one day I just bolted from them. Oh, excuse me. Confirmation. So then I tried to go, I was like, maybe I just need to go like somewhere more familiar, right? So I started heading south back down to like Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, and at first when I was like, you know, going through West Palm and all that, like I was like, oh, this feels good, you know, and I'd like joke about driving on the A1A and all that, but then I started realizing that I couldn't be around that population anymore. Or at least then, you know, in that time frame, I couldn't. It was too much. It was too heavy on my energy. It's just I still had a lot of work to do then. I mean, not that I don't now, but as far as learning how to protect my energy, I still had a lot more work to do then. And so I was just so really sensitive to all the people down there and just all of the like hustle and bustle of everything so much faster down there compared to like most places. And so then I'm like, okay, well, this isn't working out. Let me go back to Tallahassee. So I get to Tallahassee. Like I said, I didn't recognize anything. And, but at least for the moment, like initially, I was pretty comfortable there. Well, then, the place where I was staying, basically the parking lot I was staying in, right? They kept sending these fucking witches with cats and shit in their fucking car. And they'd sit there the same way, just mumbling shit. And I'm just like, I am so sick of y'all. They are not paying you enough. Leave me the fuck alone. Like, you know, I'm getting pissed. I'm just like, really? Really? And, if you don't know the plight of being homeless and trying to find a restroom or drinking water, maybe you should try it. I think everybody should know the struggle. You know, you wake up in the morning, you don't realize that you're taking advantage of the fact that you can just walk right to the potty and go when you're homeless, especially as a female. Buddy, I'd have to go to like anywhere from like 2 to 5 bathrooms every morning just to get one that either worked or they would let you use or that had one. Like, what do they do all day, right? Do they have a bucket and bag? I have no idea. You know, I don't know. But yeah, so I was in Tallahassee for a while, and they have this like man-made lake there. It's called Lake Ella. And when I lived there, you know, how many ever years ago? 20 years ago. 20 shit. Like, well, yeah, I left there 20 years ago. But anyway, so I'm walking around this lake, and this dude runs up on me with his dog, and just starts like a random conversation, right? And I'm humoring the conversation, like whatever. I, you know, hadn't had one in quite some time. And then I look up at him, he's got a fucking Michigan hat on. And I'm like, so I mentioned to him I'm from Wisconsin, and I never mentioned Michigan. And he goes, oh yeah, I'm from up north too, like, you know, oh yeah, I forgot I had put this hat on. Then he tells me he's from the west side of Michigan, But I took his phone number because, you know, play with your food, right? And I searched it, and it's actually like a Detroit number. And I'm like, they just keep sending witches, warlocks, and fucking masons after me. And he's trying so hard. He's like, hey, can I get you some food? Do you want to go get some coffee? And I'm like, you know, in my head, I'm like, yeah, I don't really feel like being poisoned today. You say you go there often. You probably got some, like, cahooty thing going on, you know. And, anyway, I was just like, I can't go anywhere. Like, this is so fucking annoying. Like, right? Like, I'm just, like, annoyed. And I'm like, I can't be here anymore. Like, I just can't. I'm so frustrated. I was like, you know, because in my head, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna eventually fucking land somewhere, and there's not gonna be a fucking gang stalker or whatever. So, something drew me to the Emerald Coast. So I get to Panama City, and I go to experience my first metaphysical store. Now I've always, okay, that's a lie. Since, okay, let me put it this way. I've always known I'm very sensitive to energy. Like, I can't tolerate, Chicago. Chicago makes me, very anxious, very panicky. I mean, I don't know what it would be like, right, like, in my timeline now, what it would be like to be there. But, a few lifetimes ago, it wasn't fun. Like, it wasn't a good experience for me at all. And, when I was in rehab, my behavioral specialist told me that I was an empath. So I started, you know, looking into that, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, that makes sense, whatever. And then as, like, more information's come out, and I found more information or whatever, however it works. Yeah, like, I'm pretty super fucking sensitive to energy. And, there was this girl who was on crutches, and I'm pretty sure she was homeless. And she'd always be, like, all night long hobbling across the parking lot and just, like, mumbling shit, throwing curses at me. And I'd cancel, rebuke, and return those fuckers to her just as fast as she was throwing them at me. And, like, before I realized what was happening in that situation too, because, you know, I'm a little slow, very shortcake sometimes. I got, like, there's a learning curve that I got to jump on sometimes. And, like, at first I'm just like, this girl's so weird. Like, why does she keep doing this? And then I started, like, realizing, like, it was hitting right as she was passing, right? Like, some of it. And I was just like, this bitch. And I'm like, I'm like, just stop, like, quit it, like, and I just keep canceling her because she keep doing it. So it was like a couple weeks went by, and she just was like more and more present every night and all this shit. And I'm like, I do not want to stay up all night, bitch. Like, stop. And I don't know what she threw at me one day, but I canceled and returned that shit, right? And this bitch fell over in the parking lot, and she's like, I fucking hate you. And I was like, yeah, I'm not really fond of you either, but if you just stop throwing curses at me, we'd both be okay. Like, sorry, I can't crack myself up, but I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, what did you think? Like, stop. So the metaphysical store. So I walk in, and it's like right across the street from this parking lot where this chick was. Anyway, and this guy, he like looks at me and he's like, I hate to tell you this, if you don't know, but you're a seer. And I was like, no, dude, I'm homeless. And he's like, no, my wife is, so I know. He's like, I'm not. But he's like, I can see it. I can see you are. He's like, I'm sorry. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, me too. I'm pretty sorry about it too, because I don't even know where to go with that, because like I said, this is all fucking new to me. Like, I'm like a baby in this world, okay? And so anyway, he's like, you should get a job. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I probably should. And so he was actually really nice that time. He and his wife gave me a few crystals to kind of like aid me in healing, like quartz, rose quartz. He gave me a really cool meteorite, so I don't get abducted. Because sometimes when I be driving, I don't know. I don't know if it's deep meditation or if I'm getting abducted or what the fuck, because I don't know who's been driving that car for quite some time now. And then he gave me, I don't remember what the other one was. But anyway, so he gave me, he's like, okay, he's like, keep these close to you, and he's like, if and he's like, go get a job and all this, and come back, and maybe we can start doing some like energy work on you and stuff. And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I just like, in that moment, I had been alone and screwed over by so many people that I thought, hey, finally, maybe they're part of my tribe and they're here to help. Well, then I went to a farmer's market, and there's this guy that did these like resin molds with copper and like I don't remember if it was obsidian. I can't remember what gemstone he would use, or crystal, whatever. But basically, the way he did the resin with it mixed together or whatever, it like amplified the energy of it, right? His pieces were pretty neat, but like I couldn't afford them at the time. Can't afford them now, but anyway, he mentioned this place called Capstone, and he talked about how it was, he went through his whole, like, this whole spiel thing, but at any rate, part of it was the capstone and how it was something like it was on the same ley lines as Egypt and like something like that, right? So kind of like piqued my interest, right? And I took it as a download, like, you know, maybe I should step in. So I looked it up, and that was like a Saturday, and they weren't going to be open until like Tuesday, right? So I go walking in there on Tuesday, and there's a couple women in there, because it was like it was a metaphysical bookstore. No, not bookstore. Let me rephrase that. It was like a library, like you kind of like a coffee house, but you could like go chill and read, whatever. But they also did like sound bowl healing, the light healing, crystal healing. They had different conferences. I don't really know. I was only invited to one, which was a setup anyway. But I don't think it worked out in their favor because I'm a mouthy bitch. But it's fine. I think that was after I went to go live with Ken Barbie, but I'll explain. So anyway, so I walk in, there's these two women, and they introduce themselves, and one of them starts to show me around, and I started to tell her a little bit of, you know, my stories, my experience, and they took me into a room to sit in like a recliner or whatever so that they could start their energy healing. And then she found out I was homeless, and she was like, oh no, you're not, you're gonna come stay with me, blah 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 blah. Pretty sure she took me to a fucking safe house, but anywho. And I'm pretty sure her plan was not to have me there for almost a month either, because I'm pretty sure she was going to Tallahassee, or not Tallahassee proper, one of the little teeny blips outside of Tallahassee, right? In the Salt Flats to do musky moon rat magic on me, but she'd leave every fucking full moon. And every new moon. And she'd leave me alone, and then let me tell you the disappointment on her face every time she came home and I was still breathing, thriving. She was a Black Widow. She told me she was raised Rosicrucian, which I know now is sort of along the same lines as like the Eastern Stars, Masons, all that. I get it. I know there's good and bad to all, but I know what side she was on, okay? And then, anyway, so like I said, she was a Black Widow, so she was, if you know, you know. She was carrying around the spirit of her ex-husband with her. Like he'd just be with her. Well, she kept trying to send him into the room after me. And then when she would go into meditation, like her eyes would do weird shit. Like, I don't know. And then she also talked about shit weird too. Like, I know this is all new to me, but like at the same time, I'm just like, the shit she was saying, I'm like, this is not resonating with me. But I decided, since I was living with her, that I wouldn't tell her that. I would just be like, And like she wanted me to like hang out with her more, but I didn't want to, so I still spent a lot of time. And then like when I would go to work, oh excuse me, I would go like a couple hours early so I could get my coffee and like, you know, chill before, and like she'd get mad about that. She'd try to like hold my attention, and then she kept trying to invite people over, and then she'd get mad if I left because, you know, she wanted me to like, I don't know, bless them with my presence or some shit. I don't know. Okay, like even to this day, she knows more about me than I do. There was one day she started doing like a past life regression on me. That's some weird shit right there. Being in this vessel, but watching myself burn at a stake in a different vessel, but from that vessel's perspective, that was fucked. Like that was fucked. I don't know. I don't know if it's supposed to hurt when they do that, but my third eye was just burning, and I would cover it, and she'd be like, you gotta stop covering it. I'm like, but it, like, it hurts, you know? She kept just, you learn how to protect yourself from those fucking people. You do. She kept trying to attach, okay, so like I said, she was like Rosicrucian, right? And like, she was aware of her gifts her whole life because her family believed in them, like knew of them, you know? They weren't trying to like hide them from her. And she said she was an indigo, and I don't know what the fuck she got messed up in at some point or another, but she had a really bad attachment that was like impeding her gifts. Like she could still use them, but not fully or something. I don't know. I didn't want to ask about it. The more I realized that like that's what she was doing, I would try to not go home or be there as much as possible. Like I'd go sit at the beach, just chill on the beach for hours. Listening to the waves crash. Because it was better than her eating my fucking brains. She wasn't really eating my brains, but that's what it felt like. She was trying to like swap that attachment to me. I'd walk in and she'd be like, every night, like with this weird creepy hand thing, like sleeping, like normally sleeping like on a bed, but like every night her hand be like this. And all I could think of was like, I don't know what tarot deck it is, but it's like, I think it's the death card or something, and there's like the hand coming out of the graveyard dirt. All I could think of all the time, like how the hell you sleep like that? Like, doesn't your fucking arm get tired? It was so weird. And then one day I went to work. Okay, no. First, she went to wherever she would go in the salt flats to do her little moon muscular magic, right? it was like after the second time she did it, I think the first time was coming back at her. However, I don't remember the exact timeline. All I know is she was sick. Like, she was not doing well. Like, this woman literally looked at me and goes, I might not make it, like, through the night. And if that happens, you can stay here. Everything's paid for. It's fine. And I'm like, the fuck is this bitch talking about? What is going on? Like, why are you so sick? Like, how you were fine? You were like an ex-bodybuilder going to the gym every morning, and now you're like, I might not make it through the night. And I'm like, weird. So I go to work the next morning, and she's not in the place, like she's not home. And I'm like, okay, well, she survived. Like, hopefully she went to the gym or whatever, right? I go walking up to work. Now I know she's ex-military. I go walking up to work, and this bitch is like creeping like the fucking CIA out of one of the parking stalls up to me as I'm walking through the lot, right? And I'm like, this bitch. So I was like, oh, hey, are you feeling better? And she's like, oh, so much better. And I'm like, oh, that's good. She's like, I left you a candy bar inside. I'm like, okay, thanks, you know? She's like, I left it at the front desk. I'm like, okay, cool. So I go inside, and I'm like, I'm not going to get this fucking candy bar, because I know what time she's on, right? And I'm sick of being poisoned. Like, I'm so sick and tired of being poisoned. I'm so sick and tired of not being able to eat or digest. So I go back, clock in, like, go in, you know, start getting going, right? One of the managers brings me my fucking candy bar with my name post-it note on it. I'm like, at this point I feel like I'm like 5, right? Like, my mom left lunch, or I forgot my lunch at home, mom had to bring it, right? Just like, this is ridiculous. Like, why would you bring me a candy bar, right? I know why. You know what I did with that candy bar? Bloop. Right into the trash. And I can't remember if that was the same day. I think that was a payday, and I went and got groceries because I didn't want her to be like, oh, you're staying with me for free, you're not, you know, like, I didn't want her to think I was a freeloader. So I would, like, you know, I cleaned up after myself, I helped around the house, and I wanted to get groceries, whatever, right? And so I stopped and get groceries, and I don't know if I was supposed to drop dead after eating that candy bar or what the case was, but I walk in the house with these groceries, or into the condo, and I was like, hey, I got groceries, and she goes, great. And I'm like, okay. Whatever. And she was disappointed. She was disappointed. I thought she'd be happy I brought groceries. She was just mad I wanted it. Or suffering, or I don't know, whatever the fuck her intentions were for me. But yeah, then she introduced me to this family who they had traveled all over and been gang stalked supposedly as well. And they had a daughter who's like 10. I'm really not quite sure I even really want to talk about them. I'm not exactly sure how exactly I even feel about them. Anyway, after I stayed with the lady that was trying to eat my brains, I don't know, I guess she got sick of me not dying. Or being in a bad mood or something, even though she was trying the most. And so that's when she moved me into Ken Barbie's house. I call him that because he was like built like Ken with Barbie's head on, and his whole fucking house was pink and crystals. It was very disturbing. He was doing the most too. Pretty sure they were trying to send the gang in there to fucking murder me one night. But the Most High always tells me so. That was like the one night I didn't go home until like 4 a.m. And then he came wandering in. He, I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, not judging, just I don't know what. He was married, had a kid, and then all of a sudden he decided he was going to become Ken Barbie, so it is what it is, right? But they made a point to tell me that they never locked the doors. Oh yeah, and we didn't lock the door at the condo until the people right across from us got a Ring camera, and it was the only Ring camera in 3 buildings. Yeah, buddy. And it wasn't there when I initially moved in with her. Yep. So, when they really started trying the most, I messaged the family if they'd come meet me for dinner one night. Because I still, at that point, wasn't really sure whose time they were on. And I was already mostly convinced that I was going to have to bolt from there too. Just, it's like, when I go places, it's like it has an expiration date, you know? Like, I gotta be here for this long. And when it's time to go, I gotta go. And God just kind of asked me to just go up and leave. So they meet me for dinner. And I had been out to dinner with them before. And I'd been to their house for like Reiki sessions and whatnot. So I'd spend time around them. But this time it was like they were trying too hard not to let me see anything. And when I started telling them about the lady, because they worked with her too, like not like they went to the same job, but like I think they were doing well. Honestly, the reason that they were even in Panama City in the first place was supposedly because Mary's higher self reached out to the other lady's higher self in the astral and asked her to come help her because, like I said, whatever the lady I was staying with, whatever she got herself into, her gifts were impacted by it, impeded. They were like, some of them they didn't work right, I guess. And so she was trying to, I guess her higher self was like, send me somebody to fix this shit, right? Well, that's not happening. God's not giving her back her gifts. If anything, she'll lose all of them, if not her life for what she tried on me. But that's not, God told me that, not her. And I'm not saying that. I'm telling you what God told me. So we're out to dinner, and I was gonna choose the place, but I just let I choose the cuisine. But I knew that they were more familiar with like wherever, whatever it is, what it is. I just didn't give a shit. I've been poisoned so much. I'm just like, you know, it doesn't matter where I go at this point. Fuck. But they knew I knew. They were trying so hard not to, though, because I started telling them about the lady, and they were scared. They were terrified. Fucking terrified. And really, until I saw how scared they were, I didn't think that they were in on it. I'm actually sorry that they were. Not really. You know, they made their bets, but I guess it's more like it gets really exhausting when everybody's out to just be a part of your demise, you know? So I left from there, started heading north again, till I ran out of gas. Some fucking where, Alabama, I think. Yeah, I think it was in Alabama. And I spent 4 days in a parking lot with no shade, dying. It was like any of the beneficial Reiki work that they had done on me, they re-released once they knew that I knew that they were part of it. And also I think some of the other ladies, some of her shit, you know, like I said, like we're not infallible. God protects us. But we still experience some of it, some of the pain, some of the effects. You have to learn how to, you know, use your resources, your tools, your, what does Dora say, her handy pandy, is it Dora? She say her handy dandy backpack or whatever. Backpack. You know, your spiritual tools are important. Because these fuckers will try anything. I don't care. And you know, I don't wish ill will on any of them. None of them. You know, there was twice before I lived with that lady for the month or whatever, when I'd be sleeping in my car, dead ass out, right? Twice I got woken up. Where someone was using voodoo on me, a voodoo doll, and it's like they were trying to puncture my kidneys out or something. It's like I was being stabbed in my kidneys just again and again and again and again, and I could see their face. And it was like they were enjoying it, like it's always those closest to you. That was my loved ones doing that to me. And all I could do was cry and rebuke it. When I saw their face, it wasn't even about the pain anymore. It was just, I was so fucking sad. Like, what the fuck did I ever do to you people that you just tell me you fucking love me my whole fucking life, and now you're gonna sit here and do this shit to me? And you can't even do it to my face. You're thousands of miles away from me. Or hundreds at least, right? Like hundreds of miles away from me. For some reason, you hate me so much. I didn't do anything to them, you know? I would never do that shit to people. Never. I'd never do any of this shit to people. You know, for a long time, when I first started driving, when I first left Michigan, for a long time, it was days and days, probably weeks. You know, when I was still waking up to all of this and what was actually happening. All I could say was like, who the fuck does this shit? Who the fucking turn off their humanity switch so hard that they just hurt people like this? It's like, for what? Just because you don't want me to be fucking happy? Just because you don't want me to live to my full potential? Just because you don't want me to fucking exist or just be who I am? Just because you can't fucking handle my truths? Just because I'm exposing the pain that you're causing every fucking one else?
I still don't understand it, but it is what it is, right? I mean, until we all wake up to it and stop it. All I want to do is help heal this world. Let me rephrase that. I want to help you guys all learn how to heal yourselves, because I can't do it for you. I want to help drag you guys out of the illusion that we all get stuck in. You know? Like, what do we call it? The Matrix. I have literally watched people Agent Smith. There was this kid I met in Venice. Honestly, I think he might have been a starseed too. But in that moment, his vibration was so low. He took on the same spirit in this one moment that my brother carries. And I've seen it. God's seen it too. And God was like, get the fuck out. When God tells me to go, I just fucking go. I've never been very materialistic, but let me tell you something, buddy. I've lost or sold everything I owned. Except for, let's see, what do I still have that I had then? I think I got a pair of boots in the car. And a couple notebooks. A handful of clothes. And probably some personal care items. But beyond that, it's whatever I picked up along the way. Because whatever I had of survival gear in my car, I had to sell. And thank God I had all that shit to sell. It'd have been a lot longer road. A lot more difficult. It's been a long road. A long life. And this is only some of my story. There's so much more. So much more. I've had a lot of people that are like, you should be careful. I mean, duh. Sorry. It's like, duh, Captain Obvious. Everybody should. But like, in the grand scheme of things, I was literally raised for whatever the fuck I just had to go through. Like, the Most High made sure that every experience I had, good, bad, ugly, otherwise, prepared me for what I've had to go through these last 8 months. And I was never afraid. I'd get tired and start whining like a little shit to him. And then I have to apologize for being a whiny little shit. Mostly it's just because I get so uncomfortable in my car, you know. But in the same token, I had to be grateful for having the car, because I literally could have been just sleep on the fucking street, right? But I had an aunt that asked me one time why I liked being the way I am. And it's not necessarily that, you know, I like it, because how can you actually like something that everyone else in your fucking, like, world hates you for? And I don't mean like globe world, like, I mean like the perception of my reality, the people that I interacted with, you know, like, they all despise me for who I am. I don't even know who the fuck that is. I just know that I'm not afraid. Not afraid to stand up to any of it, any of them. I know there's Masons hunting me. I know that I have had drones after me. I told you about the helicopter. I've had the police after me. I've had crazy ladies try to attach fucking evil, nasty fucking entities to me in my sleep. The poisoning, you know. But let me tell you something. Other than the spiritual hitman that have come up after me, ain't nobody tried me. And that's what I told my aunt. Because her daughter, when she was in college, she, I don't know, she had a bunch of girls razz her or some shit, steal all her fucking underwear. And so when my aunt had asked me that question one day, I just looked at her and I go, because ain't nobody stealing my fucking underwear. I won't say where, but I had this, a couple of guys that I was hanging out with at the park at, you know, just wasting the day away, whatever, you know. Like I said, it's been a long, lonely road, right? So, like, if you can get some company to hang out with who, you know, have lunch with, whatever. And, you know, it always starts off like, hey, you know, can I get a cigarette? Or, you know, like, whatever. But then you see their true colors, or the Agent Smith pops in, and then, you know, everybody wants to fucking eat your brains and shit. But, they go about it in different ways, right? So, like, one of them, he was really bad drinking, and I think he was on methadone, and, what the fuck? Anyway, he was on, like, methadone and shit, and, he got really sick. Like, he got, like, oh, that was another thing about that lady down in, Florida. She had this, I think she thought it was her twin flame, something, whatever. Well, anyway, he was, like, a little bit younger than her, but he was in prison. And she went to go visit him. And she would go a few times, and then she started telling me he was, like, getting all jaundiced. Because when she would go there, they'd both be sitting there trying to do their little spiritual assassination and shit on me, you know? And it was fucking backfiring. Fuck around and find out, bitches. But anyway, so after that, my travels or whatever. So there's two guys in this park, and so he's getting sick. So he ends up in the hospital for like a week. He gets out, and I'm like, hey, dude, you know, you've been sober for a week now. I was like, and they've got you back on the correct like dosage of methadone or whatever. I was like, I really think you should stop drinking, and you know, you look much better now, and like you should really like take care of yourself, you know. And he's like, yeah. But like 3 days later, and you know what? Here's the thing: most people don't understand. When you're an alcoholic and you stop and you start back up again, you can't just go back to the max, bro. So anyway, he became even a sadder shit story than he was to begin with. And so I'm sitting in the old man's car in the passenger seat one day, and it's like, you know, 98 fucking degrees, and we're just sitting there fucking melting, like miserable because we're homeless and ain't got shit else to do, right? And he's like, I had these like lawn chairs. They just never came out of the back of my car. But anyway, so he was sitting in one next to the passenger door. So I'm like kind of trapped in this car, right? And it's hot. I'm bothered. I don't remember the last time I ate. And I'm just like, he's over here fucking boo-hoo crying about, I need to go back to the past and I wish I could change it all and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you can't, dude. You can't. Get the fuck over it. Okay? Like, stop. And he's just, I mean, snot coming out of his fucking nose, like all this shit. And I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, bro, you're breaking my, like, my zen. You're breaking my, I can't do it, right? So like, I stand up and I'm like, get the fuck out of my chair. I'm like, if you're gonna sit here and cry about spilt milk, all I know is that I don't have to sit here and do it with you, right? Because at this point, I knew really what he was doing was he was trying to, they do that to me. Like, they send these like low vibing people around me because I do care. I really do care. Like, if I felt he was being genuine, you know, and even when he was, like, I'll just break out some incense and just cleanse your aura, get over your shit, like, you know, or make you take a walk or something. Take your fucking shoes off. I don't know, go lay in the goddamn yard, okay? Like, something, right? But it was like, you know, when people just want you to feel sorry for them, they don't want to, like, actually try to do anything to help themselves. No, wrong one, no. Knock on the next door, motherfucker, okay? I don't, no. So, I'm like, get the fuck out of my chair. And he's like, no. And I'm like, get the fuck out of my chair. And he's like, no. Now, mind you, I weigh about $1 at this point because I hadn't been eating very well, right? And, so I even surprised myself in this moment because not that he was like the biggest dude, but like, again, I weigh like $1, right? And, I grabbed the leg of the chair and I dumped him. I just, I don't even know I'm like, okay. And so like, it kind of like when I first did it and he went rolling down the hill, I was like, oh shit. Like, so then I'm like, I'm halfway in it, so like I gotta own it, right? So I was like, fuck it, you know. I'm just like, and he's like, are you fucking for real? And I was like, yeah, actually I am for fucking real. Like, it's my chair. I'm not sitting here having this little fucking pity party with you. And so bye. So I get my chair, throw it in the back of my car. Well, he was what do you call it? Double parked in front, like perpendicular. Is that, yeah, okay, yeah, he was double parked, right? Like in front of the old man's car. So as I'm backing out, he's like pissed. it jumps in his truck and he's starting to like come right at me, and I'm like, oh shit, buddy. And the park we were at, it had like a really long windy entrance into it, and so I'm like, good thing I got practice at this shit, right? And so I'm gone. And besides the fact that my car is being held together by a wish prayer and my angels right now, it was like, anyway, so I go up to this like apartment complex, and because it was like high ground, right? And I'm sitting in, and like my adrenaline's pumping. I'm like, my foot's like barely holding the brake down because it's like throbbing so bad, right? My adrenaline's just like, and so I'm just like looking down the entrance, like, you know, waiting for his truck to go by, and I'm like trying to check the one behind me and like all this shit. And then a car comes like after a minute, and so I had to kind of get the fuck out of the way, right? And so I'm like, all right, you know, let me go find some new high ground where I'm not like, you know, trespassing basically. And yeah, so he was trying to find me to run me off the road, and then apparently he's like, I went and put a warrant on you. And I was like, did you now? Do you know my last name? And pretty sure warrants take longer than 35 minutes, but anyway, so I avoided them for like that night or whatever, and then the next day I went and met them at the McDonald's gas station thing, whatever, and he comes pulling in, fucking mean mugging the shit out of me, and I walk up to him and I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I really am. I'm really sorry. And he was still trying to be mad, but then he wasn't. And then other shit happened, and God was like, how many times, like, how many situations do I have to put you in to tell you that you ain't supposed to be around these motherfuckers and, like, you know, make a getaway for you, right? Well, it was like it was like 2 days before 4th of July, and the old man had gotten like the day before 4th of July, because it was the 3rd, the old man had gotten his like social security check, right? And he was like, I'm gonna get a hotel room, we can shower, blah blah blah. This motherfucker was gonna try to drive me fucking nuts in that hotel room, okay? So I just got up in the middle of the fucking night when he was like trying to do stupid shit. We had our own beds, I wasn't even trying, okay? So, but it was like, he was like trying to piss me off, like really bad. And I kept telling him, shut the fuck up and go to sleep. And then like 20 minutes later, he'd do the same shit. So I got up and I left. And then I lived off ice chips for 4 days. And then I walked for like almost 2 hours in 100-degree heat to go find food, because I didn't have any money or anything, and I ran out of gas, and I couldn't even roll up my car windows. And even when I got to the lady's house, I thought, like, because I like looked it up on Google, and I was like, when I got to the lady's house at first, I was like, oh shit, is this just like one of those like random things where like some dumbass got high and was like, yeah, we serve tacos here. Right? Like, they just pick a random spot on the map and put a Google point. But no, it wasn't. It was real, thank God. And she was able to feed me and give me some, like, you know, pantry items and whatnot. And God told me that I wouldn't have to go through that ever again like that. And I was very grateful, because that sucked. But it was kind of like my Jesus in the desert moment, I guess. I mean, really, when I think back on a lot of this, I feel like I've lived so many stories in the Bible. Like, for real. And I think we all do. Like, a lot of people aren't going to want to walk, or probably couldn't even walk in the shoes that I've walked in this year. Probably would have broke their brain. I mean, it's been hard. You know? I mean, particularly when I think about how many people have continuously fucking betrayed me, right? Like, not even just the people I grew up with, not even just the people that I had to run from, but like almost every fucking buddy I've encountered. I mean, I went to a mechanic in fucking Tallahassee. That motherfucker fucked my car up worse than it was. And she's still rolling. Because, like I said, my angels be like duct tape on that bitch, okay? Even the situation I'm in now. It's like, I'm just super grateful for a shower and a bed. You never realize how many things in life we take advantage of until you just don't have access to them anymore. And, you know, we really got to do something about these homeless people. We got to help them. Like, I know there's states that have the resources, like building materials for teeny homes, and they're just like in a pile some fucking where, in a warehouse or a field, I don't fucking know, but ain't nobody putting them together and there's no plan to do so. Why? Especially when a lot of them are veterans. It's been another thing that's pissed me off. I seen a homeless veteran that day that I flipped the dude out of the chair. Here I am sitting in a fucking Walgreens parking lot waiting for this motherfucker to come try to kill me. And I see this guy walking across the parking lot in like slides and shorts. And his right ankle is like 5 times too big and purple. And I'm like, oh buddy. And I'd seen him before, like, so I knew he was a veteran because I'd seen the sign. And I'm like, oh buddy. I just like ran up to him and I was like, do you need an ace bandage? Like, actually, now that I think about it, I actually had shit in my car. Well, no, that probably would have been a terrible idea. We don't want to do that. I was gonna say I had shit in my car that I could have casted his ass, but anyway. But I so I brought him back to the car and put the, sorry, this tag is driving me crazy. Put the ace bandage on him, and I don't know, somebody came out because I didn't even know where I was in the moment, but somebody came out, excuse me, of the gas station, and they were like, asking if he needed water or anything, and gave him information about like how to get to the VA and how, but that, like, I met one recently too that really makes me sad. They've done not not that I agree with it, but I realize that when our men and women sign up for the military, that they're essentially signing over all their sovereignty, right? They do really shitty things to them, really horrible things. Testing fucking drugs on them and shit. Just makes me really sad that this is the we're gonna change this, guys. I've been saying since I started this fucking journey, I'm gonna save this fucking world. Cause fuck Satan. And all his little shitty demons. And all his shitty rules. I'm so sick of people telling me what I gotta be like, how I gotta react. One of the last fucking hitmen that came after me, this motherfucker was trying to tell me how I needed to be in fucking Walmart. Like, buddy, do you not know that they have an entire website dedicated to how fucked up Walmart is? If I want to go over to the toilet aisle and get a bike and start riding around the fucking store, I might just do that. Okay, so don't tell me how I need to be on my P's and Q's. Bitch, I'm way too old for you to tell me about anything. Oh, but this is my persona, and this is my town, and this is where I grew up here. I know everybody. I got a reputation to uphold. Fuck your reputation. I don't give a shit. I don't know you from beans and cheese. I don't give a fuck. You want to be around me? I don't care. Kick rocks, okay? For real. For real, for real. Now, buddy, over crying in a corner some fucking way. I don't give a shit. That's not to say that I don't have, like, you know, empathy or nothing, because I got a whole bunch of fucking empathy, but you gotta earn that shit. Don't sit here and tell me how I gotta fucking be and then expect me to feel sorry for you. That ain't how this, nope. Okay, I done been, this is so long, I'm sorry. I hope, God told me I'm tired. God told me that I needed to share this. And there's so much more. But I don't even know if I can upload whatever this is. And I just hope it helps somebody. At least just know that, like, yeah, life's shitty. I get that, you know. Sticks and stones and mean names and labels and boxes and all the shit that they throw at all of us, right? Like, it hurts. I get that. Jesus gives us the authority and the power to say no more. shit that happened to me in Michigan, it was like, my fucking angels said no more. It was like God said no more. What I was going through there. It was like they got fed the fuck up for me. They helped me rise. The Most High got me the fuck out of there. I couldn't have done that shit by myself. Sometimes I feel like I don't even have the capacity to hold enough gratitude to give back to God. The shit that He saved me from, even myself. He saved me from myself more times than not, too. And, you know, all those, like, repressive thoughts. When you get stuck in your head, you're having that fucking war in there, and you just want to scream. Sometimes you do. It's not a bad thing, right? It's like, we gotta purge somehow. Whether, oh yeah, that too. So like, for 3 full moons in a row, like 2 to 3 days afterwards, buddy, I'd be dying. That's when I knew she was doing moon magic on me. I'd be fine. All of a sudden, it just fucking hit me like a fucking tidal wave. And I'd be just, I can't keep my eyes open. I'm blacking out. I'm hot sweating. I'm cold sweating. I'm fucking vomiting everywhere. Now I wake up the next morning and just, I mean, like, my abdomen would hurt because most of the time I wasn't really vomiting. I was dry heaving because I didn't have food, but like, or I had food, but not, you know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have enough to like make all the puking puke. And like I said, sometimes it has to hit, you know? I'm not mad about any of it. I mean, I'm upset that people decided to be shitty and do too much. Like, I have a right to be upset about that. Because I understand that I agreed to go through the situations I had to awaken the parts within me to remember, right? Like, why I'm here. But there's always that one asshole, or in my case, like, I don't know, probably like close to 100 at this fucking point, assholes that just did too much, right? Too fucking much. It's like nobody asked for extra credit and they were trying to go for it or some shit. I don't know, but anyway, let me just end this because I'm like at 3 hours now. I've been sitting here talking to y'all for 3 hours. I don't even know. I'm just basically, you know. Let me do the hush. I'm too tired. Again, I really hope that this does what it's supposed to do and positive way. And like I said, I don't really social media very well, so set your expectations low on responses or any of that kind of thing, because at this point I'll be lucky if I can figure out how to post this, okay? I love you all. I really, 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 truly do. And the more of us that can remember who we are and why we're really here, and remember the authority that Christ gave us to stand up to these motherfuckers that are trying to siphon us and use us as batteries, the sooner we'll remember what happiness is, what freedom is. And what the truth of Christ consciousness is. Be strong, be safe, and be smart. Okay, bye.